Hello, how are you? This is Dara, and I am a gender therapist in Colorado. So I thought I'd share with you something that's on my mind today. This was actually brought up to me by somebody I recently hired. So I get a lot of emails from those of you who watch this video, from people who visit my blog at darahoffmanfox.com, and I read all these messages that I get. Even if I'm not able to respond to all of them directly, it's important for me to know what you are wondering about, what's on your mind, what it is that you need help with. So I hired somebody to help me organize all these emails and come up with a monthly report about what is it that people ask me the most. And the number one question that is asked me every single month it comes from people who are specifically wanting to know if they are trans, or if they're transgender, or if they're non-binary, basically something other than being cisgender. And this person that I hired noticed that specifically when this question is being asked, they are asking me in my role as a gender therapist, that if I could please determine, based on different things they tell me about themselves, if they are trans or not. I hadn't noticed this before because I sort of forget at times that I'm a gender therapist. I'm just reading these messages as somebody who's wanting to help. So it was interesting to have this person from the outside be able to pick up on these themes, because what they recognized was that it almost is like, that feeling of like having to ask permission from somebody like myself who's a professional to be trans. Also that question, am I trans enough? Having that sort of question come through in many of those messages, and therefore asking me as a mental health professional if I can verify for them whether or not they are trans. And it was interesting, but also concerning, of course, to recognize that, because when it comes down to it, it's definitely not my job to determine if somebody is trans or transgender. I am very much excited to help somebody figure that out for themselves, and that's what I do. In the end, or if somebody comes to me and they already know that they're trans and they want to start transitioning, I take their word for it and I immediately ask, how can I help? What do you need from me? And so to have so many people asking me to, almost, again, as a professional, to give them the okay that they are trans or transgender, it makes me wonder how many people out there don't realize that when it comes down to it, it's up to you. It's completely up to you to figure that out, in the sense that it's not up to me or a physician or somebody else to say, let me think, based on what you said, yes or no. No, you're not trans. You have to be careful when people say that they're going to tell you that based on just a little bit of information that you give them. And don't get me wrong, I know it'd be like so great to have somebody maybe to answer that question for you, because it can be so painful and confusing to not know that answer and just to have somebody tell you, yes, it sounds like based on what you're saying that you are trans. So one thing just to mention, because I know how frustrating it is for people not to be able to have that answer, that's a big reason that I'm writing a book, to help people be able to figure this out on their own. And it's as if I'm your guide during this process, because this book, like, I put a lot of me into this book about what would I do for you if you were my client, how would I help you? And so again, that book's coming out June 17th. It'll be available to purchase either as an ebook or as a hard copy. And so I'll be giving more information out about that later, but I just wanted to let you know that my book, You and Your Gender Identity, A Guide to Discovery, is my way of trying to help the situation in which you're really wanting to know from me if I think that you are trans, or if you're transgender, or if you're non-binary, because I can't help every individual person. I can only help my clients on their journey to figure that out by helping them figure that answer out for themselves. That's what this book is going to do. It's going to help you be able to do that on your own. So again, just to kind of summarize what I've been rambling about today, when it comes down to it, even though it might be nice to have somebody tell you the answer to that question, They can't be able to do that unless they've known you for a while. They know lots about you, and you've had a chance to talk about your side of things. In the end, it really is more about you answering that question for yourself. Don't be fooled by anybody who says, based on a couple of things you tell them, and they say, oh, you're definitely trans, or no, you're not trans, you don't fit the description. This is not something you need to seek your permission from me or any other therapist or professional who works in this field. I know it can be complicated because if you want to transition, there's certain guidelines and restrictions and requirements you have to follow to be able to medically transition. And obviously that's a complicated question that can be answered, but it should be answered separately. Answer your question about your identity first, and from there you can figure out, all right, what kind of loopholes do I have to maybe jump through? Or what sort of guidelines do I have to follow to get the help that I need to get? But answer that question about your identity first. So hopefully that made some sense. It's been on my mind, so I wanted to share that with you. So I will talk to you again soon. And I'll put a link in the notes for this video for the webpage where you can go to see a little bit more about my book. And you can also sign up for my newsletter so that you can be notified about the book and when it's coming out and things like that. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.